For over 50 years, Systems Planning and Analysis, more commonly known as SPA, has been dedicated to helping our leaders make well-informed, data-driven decisions on complex national security issues, and our veterans are a key ingredient to their success.
SPA has been around for 50 years, and we're a company that prides itself in continuing to serve the country. And we're primarily focused on national security, and that's our mission. What we do is we help the U.S. government, as well as our allied partners, make better decisions. Our national security clients are extremely important in everything we do. They primarily work with us to identify what are their most challenging problems that they need to solve.
Originally, I wanted to join the Army when I was 8, and my dad took me to a West Point football game, and I decided that I was going to be in the military. And the following year, 9/11 happened, and the first thing we all saw on TV was Marines going into Afghanistan, and I decided that day that I was going to join the Marine Corps, and just never changed my mind. So I was a supply officer in the Marine Corps. I served for 5 years. A lot of my roles and responsibilities were to manage battalion finances, to work with the Marines to make sure that everybody had the equipment that they needed, that vehicles were maintained and parts were procured for that. When I networked, I sent my resume out to everybody just for resume advice, for resume help. And that's ultimately what got me a job. I got a call back from somebody saying, hey, I've got a friend who'd like to sit down with you for coffee just to talk about your options and what you can do in the DC area. And I had 5 interviews in 5 days because this gentleman who actually worked for SPA really just helped me out and gave me a lot of guidance in the industry. And then something opened up here later that week, and I couldn't wait to come to the interview. So I really enjoy still being involved with the military. So even though that I'm out, I'm working in the private sector now, for me it's great to still have one foot sort of in that community. I get to interact with the service members that I work with the Navy guys on a daily basis. I still get some of that camaraderie that I had when I was in the Marine Corps.
I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Not a lot of military in Detroit, but my mother's father and her 2 brothers were all career Navy, and they had all gone to the Naval Academy. And so there were a lot of sea stories and stuff. They'd had a lot of adventures, so that's what got me interested in the Naval Academy, even though it's in Maryland. I was an engineer at the Naval Academy, went into submarine service, and spent 24 years in the submarine force. I served on 4 different attack submarines, finally ending up with command of the USS Salt Lake City down in San Diego, California. In the Navy, you had to be technically correct, you had to be technically expert, you had to be a hard worker, you had to be diligent, you had to set things up so that it would still succeed even if a person made a mistake. A lot of people don't realize that in the military you have to arrange things so that people can be humans. They can make an error, and the error doesn't result in a catastrophe of some sort. So you're backing up each other constantly. That whole process of technical expertise, integrity, mutual support, cooperation, that's exactly the same kinds of things that are required here at SPA.
My favorite part of my job by far is the people. I love the work, it's incredibly rewarding, and I enjoy getting up to do what I do every day. But for me, the biggest thing has always been just being in a culture and in an environment where I'm happy to be there and I enjoy the people that I work with.
When I left the Navy and I went to SPA, it was a perfect fit. I've only done 3 jobs in my whole life. I flipped burgers when I was in high school. I was in the Navy, and when I left the Navy, I'm going to be at SPA. I've been here for 18 years, and I expect to stay here until I can't make any more useful contributions.
When you come out of the military, you have a training and an education and a background that is a perfect fit for here. And we take our former military folks, which is nearly 40% of the company, and couple that with the non-former military, and it is a tremendous recipe to really help the government and all the national security agencies we work with.